Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Good afternoon, Jeffrey Combs, Golden Mastermind Seminars Podcast, Memorize Behavior. So if you're here with me today on a beautiful Tuesday in Central California, I'm honored to be your host for the Golden Mastermind Podcast. And if you're watching this on replay or on Podomatic or wherever we put this podcast, thank you for being here. I know that we get a lot of replays on the Golden Mastermind Podcast and have been receiving replays going back for over 20 years. So good to be here with you. Memorize behavior. It is a topic that it's not a very common term, but a memorized behavior means the body keeps score and the body holds on to a series of events, and they are repressed or suppressed emotions and then acted out through fight or flight and anxiety, fear, and doubt based on the emotions of anger, hate, resentment, frustration, disappointment, rage. That's the anger family. Abandonment, rejection, overwhelmed feelings, grief, apathy, and pride. Any one of those emotions will keep you in your lower self and anxiety, fear, and doubt, recreating the same situation to fulfill the same set of feelings. And if this is you, today is a great day to practice the skill and the mindset of letting go by breathing, releasing, and letting go. So if you follow along on my email campaigns and you receive my emails, this was sent out to you yesterday on Memorize Behavior. And then the syllabus is always 7 bullet points on the topics that I am covering. Bob Campbell, good to see you this afternoon. So neurons that wire together, fire together. I first heard that term by the great Joe Dispenza in the 2000s, 2007 to be exact, from the movie What the Bleep. It was actually 2006. And then in that movie, What the Bleep, which had a theatrical release, there were 4 different cuts of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and one of the cuts in there was a 4-minute video on neurons that wire together, fire together. And he's been using that term ever since, meaning that the neurological network, the neural net, the neurological network of neurons that wire and fire together will form a feeling, and the feeling of abandonment, the feeling of rejection, the feeling of overwhelm, the feeling that will lead to procrastination, avoidance, are going to be emotions that are held on to. And as you begin to create the structure of change and facilitate that process of change, then you're moving into a place where the mind-body connection is no longer the same. You're separating your feelings from the events that shape them, which allows you that separation and the possibility of rewiring or wiring a new neural net so that you are now in the process of change. Change gives you the opportunity in the separation. It gives you allow space. It allows you to attract your reality, a more like-minded success seeker. It allows you to seek out people who are more in alignment with you. It allows you to have very clear boundaries. It allows you to let go. But if you keep recreating the same situation, you'll stay in the same set of feelings, which will create the same set of circumstances. And when you are in the separation, now you're in a new set of neurons wiring, firing, that if repetition is practiced over and over, will lead to a new set of feelings. And those new set of feelings is called sobriety. And that level of sobriety allows you to put back-to-back days together where you're in higher consciousness, not lower consciousness. So the ego can't rest. The ego is in the anxiety of the future and the regret of the past. And this is why many people have challenges meditating. They have challenges being able to go to sleep at night. Then their body will recreate diseases based on feelings that are still stuffed, buried, repressed, and suppressed. And if you're seeking relief and seeking the skill of letting go, then it's important that you practice these skill sets that I'm teaching you today called recovery. Recovery is an applicable skill where you're in a recovery state, practicing emotional sobriety. It means that relapsing is not an option. The pleasure is not worth the pain. There are no more cheat days. Those would be the metaphors for being and staying in the present. And in that present moment mindset is when you're prospecting, You're listening to people. You hear what they mean. You're able to hear people. You hear their breath. You hear their anxiety. You hear they're about to create an excuse. And in that space, you know that your time is not worth the energy that you would devote to it by holding on. It allows you to separate and move on quickly. For the last hour I was prospecting, I encountered 3 prospects who were not qualified buyers. 2 were definitely not qualified, and 1 might get back to me. I mean, I know what that means. As a professional, I've been prospecting for over 30 plus years. So there is, in repetition and experience, there is predictability. And the more you understand that human beings are predictable, I did a video on this morning, and you can find it on Facebook and Instagram. Human beings are predictable. The more you understand people's predictability, then you are going to be in your power. You're able to let go and separate your feelings from the events that shape them, so you are not the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. This is very liberating for you to be able to understand that the memorized behavior is the auto-suggestion. It's the automatic reaction to stimulus. So it's like you're angry without even knowing it. You're in road rage because it's just automatic. You're telling yourself, this always happens to me. I always get taken advantage of. It's a common occurrence you'll hear many people state. And not really, most people don't even understand that words are law. My word is my law. This is the old book by Florence Scovel Shinn. This is one of my original copies that I bought in 1992. I've had several copies of this book, and one of the chapters in this book was game-changing for me. It's called The Power of Word, right there. And then right here, I have a deck of Florence Scovel Shinn's affirmations cards, and this deck is really, really well used. I mean, it's as in mint condition as it can get. And so this deck, I bought this deck in 92, and I bought it in Overtone's bookstore in Dallas, Texas. So here's the deck to the book, The Game of Life. Now, this deck isn't even available anymore. They don't make it. So this is definitely old school. So let's see what it says, this deck of affirmation cards. So it says that I cannot lose anything that belongs to me by divine right. I am under grace and not under law. So divine law, meaning that you can't lose what you don't have. That's exactly what that means. And so this is a very unique deck of affirmation cards by Florence Scovel Shinn. She wrote the book in 1925. Emmett Fox does the endorsement of the book. If you don't know who Emmett Fox is, he wrote the brilliant book Sermon on the Mount that has been in the AA 12-step programs for years. And then he also wrote Around the World with Emmett Fox, 352 Days of Emmett Fox. So look at this right here. I cannot lose anything that belongs to me by divine right. It means you can't lose what you don't have. So you're not losing a client, and you don't lose any money. You didn't have it. So the more you understand that situation, then you will no longer be the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. And you will separate your feelings from the events that shape them, which will keep you in higher consciousness. So the body operates in a memorized behavior. And until you address deeply the cause that creates the effect, the body will keep recreating the same situation to fulfill the same neurochemical craving that keeps you emotionally addicted to those same set of feelings. And so that's why people relapse so frequently. This is why people recreate the same situation to fulfill the same set of feelings. And in divine law, as I said, you cannot lose what you do not have. And when you understand that key component right there, then you will practice the art of letting go. You will not have an attachment to a client. You will not have an attachment to a teammate. You will not have attachment to money, because in divine law, what is yours, which you claim, will come to you because you have created the space for it. But when you continue to operate in lack, scarcity, poverty consciousness, you're creating the same magnetism that you seek in higher consciousness that you do in lower consciousness. And this is why you'll hear people that will say, this always happens to me. You'll hear people that say this over and over. Diane, so good to see you this afternoon. And to Zarek, to Jeff, to John, And to Bob, thank you very much for being here with me. So the topic is memorized behavior, meaning that the body keeps a scorecard. The body never forgets an event. Now, the ego, lower self, will chronically forget events that is perceived to be painful or that is traumatic or that is shame-filled. And this is why many people can't remember their past, and then they'll tell themselves they had a good childhood, or they can't remember their childhood, or it was a blur. So that means the body holds on to repressed feelings. Those are the ones buried alive, or the suppressed feelings are the ones that we recreate to sabotage ourselves over and over. And if you use either one of these frequently, that means you're an emotional addict, and that's why you'll have challenges meditating or being any level of peace, because the ego can't sit still. The ego has to worry about the future and regret the past. This is once again why people have challenges meditating, letting go, resting, sleeping, healing modalities, or different levels of healing, because the body continues to stay in the fight or flight that was created by the unpredictable moments, feelings, and events that shape the feelings. This is why an addict will go from one addiction to the other addiction, not really understanding or knowing why they do what they do. It's a common theme. It's a common commonality. Happens to a lot of good people, myself included. When you continue to hold on to the same set of feelings, the same circumstances will avail themselves. When you move into acceptance of where you are, why you do what you do, address your character defects, the separation begins. Now you're wiring a new neural net of neurons that are not familiar to you. This is why at first when you're changing, it seems overwhelming. The thought of changing is overwhelming while you continue to practice being an addict. So the ego can't see the peace that being in sobriety would bring, just like the addict can't see what a healthy relationship would do to them, because all my relationships have been unhealthy. And when you live in this space, you recreate the same situation over and over to fulfill the same neurochemical craving that keeps you emotionally addicted to the same circumstances that create this. And the circumstances are created by the feelings. The term feelings buried alive never die. That's what a repressed feeling is. It's buried alive. And rigorous honesty allows you to move into acceptance. Acceptance allows you to move into willingness. Willingness allows you to move into change. And as you begin to change your feelings, change your life. I mean, that's the metaphor. But when you change the feeling and you're letting go of scarcity, lack, poverty consciousness, and instead of trying to predict the future that you worry about, and you focus on being present instead of trying to predict the outcome, and you're in that present moment awareness, now the neural network of neurons that wire and fire are changing. They're wiring and bonding differently. You're moving out of chronic fight or flight, which is the worry about the future that hasn't happened. And so many people are afraid to write content or write a post because they're afraid of what someone else, afraid of what someone else is going to think, say, or do, or be. And when you live in that overwhelmed state of consciousness, you're going to be in lack, poverty consciousness, low emotional vibration, recreating the same situation to fulfill the same feeling. So the courage to change is the breakthrough factor. Courage isn't an emotion, it's a quality, accessible to all, 24/7. And when you access that courage, then you are creating that separation. You're not the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. You're able to create that neural net that's going to take you to the land of promise, into higher consciousness, that will allow you to be present more frequently, the eye of the needle. And if you were on today's Facebook Live, I have a couple of coaching offers that if you're a long-term client, I do have a lifetime coaching package that I developed last year. If you'd like to find out what that would be, reach out to me. I'd be honored to do that. It's actually a nominal fee that will keep you coaching with me for the next 10 years. I plan on retiring around 10 years from now, so I have a long shelf life. And I did at the very last, on the last Friday of the new year, I did have a 2-for-1 coaching offer for a client that coached with me at least 1 year. If you'd like to take advantage of that, reach out to me immediately. I'm going to wrap that product up. Breathe, release, and let go in a relaxed body. Breathe, release, and let go in a relaxed body. Honored to be here with you on the Golden Mastermind Podcast. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Honored to be your coach.